session on the topic of navigating the confluence of design and real estate, which is our fireside session. And I'd like to invite our speaker, Mr. S. Vishwanath, founder, Rainwater Harvesting Club, and founder and director, Biome Environmental Solutions, to please come on stage. Mr. Vishwanath, popularly known as Zen Rainman, is a water conservation expert and the founder of Rainwater Club and founder and director of Biome Solutions. He is also an advisor to Argyem Foundation and serves as a Secretary General at International Rainwater Catchment Systems Association. His extensive expertise in providing knowledge services in water management and rainwater harvesting, ecological wastewater treatment, and sanitation practices has given him a unique capability in thinking through the key ecological and social issues in each project. Could we put our hands together for Mr. Vishwanath, ladies and gentlemen? Mr. Vishwanath, please come on stage. All right, Mr. Vishwanath. Do we have Mr. Vishwanath here? Known as Zen Rainman, is a water conservation expert and the founder of Rainwater Club and founder and director of Biome Solutions. He is also an advisor to Argyem Foundation and serves as a Secretary General at International Rainwater Catchment Systems Association. His extensive expertise in providing knowledge services in water management and rainwater harvesting, ecological wastewater treatment, and sanitation practices has given him a unique ability in thinking through the key ecological and social issues in each project. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Ajay Gupta, Executive Director, KGD Architecture, who is here on behalf of architect Najib, who could not make it, unfortunately, for our event today. Mr. Ajay Gupta serves as Director to Healthcare and Commercial Projects at KGD Architecture, an alumni of Illinois Institute of Technology, USA. He holds an experience of over 19 years handling large-scale work in India and abroad. His expertise lies in strategy and feasibility planning, creating efficient and productive designs, and budget coordination for hospitals. Please put your hands together for architect Shekhar James, Principal Architect and Managing Director, Master Plan Landscapes Architects. Mr. Shekhar James, combining his BSc Agri degree from Annamalai University with his innate flair for art to create stunning landscapes, has won him the respect and admiration of the design fraternity. His first project in 1974 was the iconic Fisherman's Cove project in Chennai, which catapulted him into the limelight, and he has since then designed over 3,000 projects in the past 3 decades. Shekhar James has completed projects in Sri Lanka and Tanzania and is currently involved in projects in Dubai. He has lectured at the University of New South Wales in Australia and was recently felicitated by Dr. Manmohan Singh, former Prime Minister of India. And our last panelist, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome architect Manish Dikshit, Principal Architect, Om Architects from Mumbai. He believes in conceptualizing design with efficiency and responsiveness, irrespective of its scale and dominion. His adaptive style of design has led him to be featured betwixt 100 top design luminaires by iDecorama magazine. He has also been acknowledged for his works in various national and international magazines like Society Interiors, Home and Design Trends by Times of India, Polish SRW, and so on. Under his able tutelage, Om Architects have completed more than 120 projects, leading them to be titled as a celebrated interior design and architectural firm globally. May I now request architect Shekhar James to please take over the proceedings.
Working?
Check.
Is this working?
Check, check.
Well, I am Shekhar James. I represent the firm Master Plan Landscape Architects. I have to brief you a little more on this subject because I'm the one and only one from landscape side. I started my career about 40 plus years ago. I was looking at a site which was being developed for a hotel or something close to Chennai. And I found them cutting away 15-year-old casuarina trees, chopping it. I said, what the hell are you doing? No, we need to clear the site. Why don't you try transplanting them? Transplanting this, who says? Now the message got across all the way to Taj Group of Hotel. They were trying to develop a site near Pune, Fort Aguada. Then they went to some horticultural society there. Said somebody is talking about transplanting a casuarina trees which are 15 years old. And they blurted out something which was all written in the letter. It came back. I was called back to site and they read the letter. He's too young, he doesn't know what he's talking about. This has never been done, it can't be done. I don't take a no for an answer. So I said, it can be done, I'll show you. They said, really? Okay, we'll talk about it. They sent me back. After 20 days or 25 days, they called me back to say, you said this can be done. I'm still saying, look here. Oh, they have tried transplanting about half a dozen trees, all bone dry. Oh, transplanting is not pulling and planting. That means any idiot can do the job. When I transplant, I knock off 85% of the roots. What the hell are you talking about? Already we are wondering how it can be done. You leave it to me. I transplanted about half a dozen trees. They sent me home. After a month, they called me back. I still remember a dozen executives from Taj were all standing there, clapping hands when I walked in. All the trees have survived, and that's how I began my career. And now, some of the other hotels I'm involved in is Temple Bay Resort, where the largest swimming pool is. I'm also a specialist in swimming pools. It's about 35,000 square feet, 3,500 square meters, 900 feet long. It's like a winding river. When I design pools, it's including aeration, filtration, all those things put together. I'm consultant for Infosys, developing almost 1,200 acres, everything in the exterior. Somebody asked me, oh, you're doing the gardening, eh? Excuse me, gardening is not landscaping, nor landscaping is gardening. Landscaping is architecture of the exterior. Everything, right from your entrance, roads, pathways, parking, water bodies, shelters, pools, everything is decided. That's landscape architecture. Now, I'm a very fidgety type, can't keep quiet. Some of the technologies I've introduced lately includes softening hard water with no machines, no chemicals, zero chemicals, at 1/10 the cost of the equipment, and it's for a lifetime. Introducing biotechnology, replacing chemicals, fertilizers, no more chemicals. And how to save 50% of water in irrigation, yet another technology. So this is how it's been going on. We are handling almost 60, 70 odd projects. A lot for builders. And now during the question and answer session, I'm going to give you a lot of little stories. Now the first point in Debacle is while the architect wants to express creativity, the developer desires an early marketable product. How to reach the common grounds?
I'll take this.
Yeah, please.
I don't think there's a disconnect anyhow. I mean, it's like if I were to bake a cake, I need all the ingredients already in place. So I think when the real estate developer perceives or conceives an idea in the sales market, the architect probably has a line to start with anyhow. I think it's like baking a cake, no difference than that. If it's a chocolate cake, it has to have chocolate in it, right? You need to have already chocolate in place. So in my mind, that is critical to start the project. The problem probably is that we don't buy the ingredients before we start making the cake. That's a different story. But I think it should we be aligned. My ideologies, my concept should actually birth from the ingredients already provided by the developer. Otherwise, it's going to go round and round, and I think we'll have a conflict of understanding of the project. That's my 2 cents to it. I know maybe Manish is smiling and can add a few more things to that.
Yeah, so one of the points that I want to discuss is the kind of understanding that is required between an architect and the developer. Are we going to the second point, right?
Yes, second point, what kind of an understanding is required between an architect and developer?
So one of the key point here is most of the times we realize that the developers, they don't choose or they don't understand what kind of architect do they need for their projects. So it does happen many times that you need to understand the kind of project that you're trying to build and try to pick up the expertise which is necessary for those kind of projects. There is a lot of times that a mismatch does happen. It's because what you are expecting out of the project and what you are getting out of it. I think all my colleagues here will understand and agree that it's not always that we are the best in doing everything. We are having our own restriction, our own styles, our own ways to design and create spaces. So that is one of the reasons why I believe that there is this disconnect at times that I have seen over the last few years, where not trying to choose your right architect for your project changes the whole final output of the project.
Absolutely. Well, there's an interesting point coming up next. How an architect's design can become the marketing tool for a developer. How an architect's design can become the marketing tool for a developer.
I'm going to can I?
Yeah, you go ahead, please.
I think I'm going to extend to what Manish said. It's actually a continuation of the same question in my head. It's actually about aligning what you want as a developer and an architect together. I think it's not even developer's responsibility, our responsibility too, to say, oh, I don't think I'm the right guy for you. I don't think I'm the right person for you. So when both the sides are aligned 100%, I think default the design becomes the marketing tool, because your vision of what your project is and what I design is already the same product. So I think we don't need to do any let's say, like cosmetics to it to actually emphasize that, oh, I think I designed that and this is what you're going to get. It's actually a flow, like a seamless. My concept and the marketing tool is a seamless approach to both the parties. I think that's.
I think majorly. I'm sorry, may I?
Sure.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
So I think majorly it is the architects. I do have the mic here attached. So I think most of the times it's the architects who can spell out and make it very clear what should be the marketing tool for the developer, rather than the other way around. And I think what is missed out today that I see, this is my personal opinion, that the developers, they get in a lot of marketing and sales tools to ensure that they are trying to get a better output of the whole thing, and not catering or not trying to understand from the architect himself that what that project is all about. Because I think if you get into the details of that project from the architect's point of view, you get your answers for the marketing tool.
I'm going to come out with 2 small stories, and all builders kindly listen. If you want to market your product with ease, learn to please the lady of the house. What are you talking about, James? And here comes the story. There's a project we are handling, all villas. Villas are about 5 crores or something like that. So, as usual, there's, just to show some landscape, there's about 8 to 9 feet of wraparound landscape and something extra in front. And the porch is almost like this. And the part of the porch extends over the garden. And there's half the size of a cutout here. So quickly, I put 2 and 2 together. I got 22. What I did was, a 25-year-old and a 30-year-old, coconuts, transplanted through the cutout. It's sticking out beautifully, and the plants are established. So the family's interior, everything is finished, mock-up thing is ready, and the family started arriving. Watch carefully. The family goes through the whole house, everything very happy, they're coming out. Then the lady looks at the coconut. Hey, coconut, coconut. She makes the man sign the check that night. Believe it or not, small things make a little difference. Like I was telling a client like this in office. All the four of us are related. We are going searching for a nice girl for our brother. 3 families we have seen, not too happy. The 4th family we settled down. Okay, she seems okay, but then we tell each other we'll wait, wink at each other. And she brings coffee, topples on him. And the way she genuinely coo-coos, oh, uncle, sorry. Over a cup of coffee, she's chosen as a bride. So small things in life matter so much. And here comes another one. We've designed the pool, everything is over. And then I had to extend the pool into a little stream where you can have a nice crossing. It goes into a courtyard. That's totally privacy. About 300 square feet of pool for the ladies. Then a connecting small play court, probably about 15 by 10 or something like that. All for the youngsters, 5-year-old to 10-year-old. The project got sold. Why? You please the woman. She knows how to convince her husband. So what I'm trying to say is, look at each point, look at what you can do. Let it be landscape, let it be interior, let it be anything. You got to give that little extra and get it. Next question is the reasons for a developer engaging in international architectural designing firms. Our architect can talk about it.
Yeah, I think it's also to do something with the marketing tool that we have these days. You want to sell your project, you have the world famous architectural company who is probably designing it for you. I think we as Indian architects, I think most of you will agree, we are able enough to design what is required for our local industry. I'm not trying to say what the international design architects that you try to hire as a real estate developer, we are not trying to compete. We are not even trying to say they are better than us. But yes, I think we can compete with them as well. So just to have a tagline of having an international firm, that is something is not meant for. And I think even the Council of Architecture is having a great debate happening about it, that they should not be allowed to practice in India. I think that's wrong too. We as architects, we do projects outside India as well. So why is it like we are going to keep a closed door? So there's something like China. We don't want to do it anymore. But if you look at the projects, it should not be a cakewalk for any other architecture company just because they are based out of Singapore or UK or US. Give it an opportunity for the local guys as well, which will make a great impact. And I think we are really capable to do it.
I'll add to that a little bit. I lived both the sides of the architecture realm. I was 13 years in Chicago and I've been 11 years with the KGD as a partner. So I've lived both sides and I'm the same guy, right? It doesn't matter. Sometimes I sat that side as an international architect, sometimes I sat as an Indian architect. So it's a perception issue, right? I mean, and I don't think anything's wrong. It's just because look at our commercial advertisement of any real estate project. First of all, apologize to my own clients sitting here and maybe my future clients. When 90% of the projects are named Boulevard something, Manhattan something, when is it called Lakshmi something? So it's about the perception of the customer. Yeah. The customer here is actually racist to our own race. We as a customer, forget architecture, forget developer, we just like things which are not here and there. Yeah. So it adds to that. It's actually a branding marketing tool, purely marketing tool. I mean, look at any advertisement of a commercial building or a residential building. 90% names are from US, Europe, Australia, something like that. The people swimming in the pool are not from India. I mean, very simple as that. So why would sometimes being a...
Even I think the brochures and the walkthroughs are not even Indian sitting there.
So I think it's nothing to do with the developer. They want to sell a great product, right? It's about me as a customer who wants to buy a condo or flat. I'm calling it condo because I'm trying to be American here right now. So I'm saying a flat is like, if I buy this for 4 crores, I'm just getting the girl free from US. Over-exaggerating. So the feeling of that, the intensity is coming through. So I think customer has to change. I don't think developer has to change. I think we need to be proud of what we do first as customer. And that changes everything. It's not anybody's fault, not the architect's fault, not the developer's fault. It's purely we as customer.
I'm involved in 2 projects where architects from Singapore are involved. We are the principal architects. So there's a porch, and it has a drive, beautiful drive, long porch, lot of parking areas and everything. That porch has a 15 feet wide, about 60 feet long or 75 feet long garden area. Fine. Then I saw 40 foot long by 10 feet wide mirror pool. So I spoke to the Singapore consultants. Excuse me, you should know the culture before you come up with a concept. You got all the cars there. My boys will take buckets and take the water from here and wash the car. Because it's a mirror pool. It looks as though it's ready. No spouts, nothing. Then on the 20th floor, there's a pool coming up. It's a rectangular, a hockey-shaped terrace. 100 feet long pool. Some 15 feet, 30 feet wide. Right in the middle of the pool, occupying almost 75% of the thing. Say I'm in the pool, that's a deck. They got a deck like this, 9 inches below the water. Exactly the same thing, long. There are about 12, and the pool water runs on top, which is about 9 inches, and then ends there. And this has steps there. So 1 or 1.5 guys can swim there. Rest of the area is for sun deck. Sun deck. I said, we all have got overdose of sun. What the hell are you talking about? And who's going to sunbathe here? What is wrong? I told you very clearly, you got to know the culture of people before you decide anything. So after the meeting is all finished, then slowly one of the guys came around. How long have you been in this? 40 years. It shows. So, again, like you said, everything, it's all hiring, all that. But one thing I certainly believe, the Singapore architect, his mama, put the baby in the cradle. The architect has a baby, the cradle, and mama's pushing it. The baby is looking at the nice buildings, very nice buildings. The Indian mama is carrying an architect baby along the road. You see the cutout of all political characters. All political characters. That's a disadvantage. Okay, another advantage, of course, is Singapore or anything as is. They're all about 25 years ahead of us, even your solar glazing to anything. So you're little behind time, not concepts. I'm not talking about concepts, literally this.
No, but I do agree with this point with both of you made. One is the sunbathing problem. Yes, culturally, if you look at anything which is not Indian, we like to adapt to it. That's our end users, what they like to do. So similarly, the sunbathing concept, which is not meant for India, I'm not saying not meant for India, we are not used to that. We get enough sun.
We don't need to tan.
But people are still going to use it because it is there and it looks
No, sadly, 80% of the pool is occupied. Only 1.5 guys can swim. Nobody can swim in 9 inches water. Okay, I'm not saying anything. You could have, being 150 feet pool, 100 feet, somewhere at the far end, about 2-3 beds there, 2-3 lounge could have been created. They had about 12 or 15. Yeah, the next one is challenges in collaborating with architects, project managers, procurement teams, and developers to integrate sustainability in a project. Challenges.
I think you are the right person for that.
Well, I'm the water guy, and as usual, water is not thought of but till the end. And generally, it's seen as a decor. So I see the confluence of design and real estate as coming in as a theme of this discussion. And one of the things we start to remember here, which one has to remind even Indian architects or foreign architects or consultants, is the fragility that our society has vis-a-vis water. A couple of things to point out. We know now, for example, that in many of our projects we integrate rainwater harvesting. But rainwater harvesting is not simply a question of digging a few pits and putting water inside it. We know that water efficient fixtures have to come in. That's sort of de rigueur everybody is putting in. But that's simply not enough. What we have to start to understand, the development as it comes up in the peri-urban, essentially, of most of our major cities, is that the single source for water for all these developments will be groundwater. And India is a groundwater civilization. We are the largest user of groundwater in the world. We have something like 33 to 35 million borewells pumping the water out. We assume that the well or the borewell is the only source of water, but we generally do not understand the concept of an aquifer. An aquifer or a sub-aquifer below our feet is a homogeneous zone of water with certain boundaries, which has the capability to hold water. The projects we develop, the buildings, the real estate projects we develop, may occupy only a small portion of the sub-aquifer. What happens is that if there are other users of the sub-aquifer, all the water harvesting we do will simply mean that some others tap into that water. So for all development, we have to understand the fragility of water at that particular point, understand the aquifer conditions there, and then look at the supply side that we can manage. In the supply side is rainwater harvesting, which we need to increase, but also wastewater. Increasingly, the projects that I look at around Bangalore, it's not just the wastewater which is recirculated from within the development, but also wastewater from the city, which can be bought, transferred, cleaned up, recharged into the aquifer, and reused. These are kind of new ideas and new thinking which will have to start to emerge from India. It will not come from Singapore, it will not come from other countries, it will only come from India, and it will come in a close dialogue with landscape architects, with architects, developers, real estate developers.
And I think even government agencies.
The government will make sure that policies are in place, but unfortunately, to push that forward, we need a deeper consultancy understanding. That sector is really new in India. We still haven't got around to doing good aquifer mapping. There's a huge Government of India project to do that. But somewhere along the line, this knowledge of aquifers will determine the sustainability of our new developments, especially when you see that it's completely a tanker-driven economy. Take Chennai, for example, or take Bangalore periphery, for example. All these large developments are completely run by tankers. To use diesel or petrol to move water is crazy and it will not last long. So therefore, that dialogue will need to become essential as we go along. The dialogue of water and the dialogue of aquifers. Mr. James.
Yeah, when you talk about water, I want to add on something else. Whenever architects or landscape architects, we work with water, let it be a swimming pool, let it be a water body, you got to be very careful. Safety is very important in a site. Recently, there was an architectural scheme to come to my table, touching the building, 50 feet long and 10 feet wide, fish pool, and 3 buildings, 3 pools. And that should be at least, they are recommending 2 feet deep. You got to be bloody careful. Children, mama, see, fish. They need only 9 inches to fall flat and drown. You got to be very careful when you're planning. So, this is a very sensitive issue. Like you said, the atrocities what's happening now with water. This is another area what, as designers, all of us have to be very careful, very, very careful. Because water, when you have, within 1 week, it'll turn green. Moss, no circulation, no oxygen in the water. Then to add oxygen, you need a waterfall, spouts and all that. Then it needs a little filtration. You know? So you got to be very careful.
Just to add to that, can I add, Mr. James?
Please.
I think what you're saying, sir, I'm not an expert in water, but I realize the more micro level you manage water, the worse it is. Let's say I have 4 acres of development, my condo or flats are there, 300 flats, 400 flats. We have our own, let's say, rainwater harvesting, not paid the reservoir also, whatever, but I'm only managing me. My neighbor is managing differently. His neighbor is managing differently. If the whole zone at a macro level was managing it, the water actually could be contained much, much better. I realize in my own society, I realize one day is a flash flood, one day there's no water, right? It's management issue. It's not about lack of water. It's about having it and not having it. Having it too much now. It's every day you see both the sectors, because one day it rains for half an hour, 2 hours, the basement is flooded, and in a couple of hours, in a couple of days, you realize that 10 tankers are coming because Kaveri water is not now coming in because of maybe corporate issue, whatever issue. So it's very funny to see. Forget as a technical man, as an architect, also again I'm using as a customer of or a resident of a condo or a flat building, like saying, yesterday was flood, today I have no water. It's just fundamentally wrong. It's not about science. It's just from me as a layman. It seems wrong because we are only managing our own small zone. I think we're not expanding it to a little bigger picture. If we had a reservoir at a city level, something to that level, we were managing at water at that level, will be actually much more sustainable in my head. I don't know.
So just to add on, Mr. James, if it's okay with you, the unit of our interventions have typically been at a city level, and city level infrastructure has developed. But our cities are growing so fast, especially in the periphery, that the city infrastructure is unable to reach the periphery quickly enough. And there are no institutional management of water. It's every man or woman to himself or herself. And this unit, which is what you described rightly, which could be a watershed, the area from where the water reaches a lake or a reservoir, or the aquifer, more importantly, the aquifer, that is completely unmanaged. It's Wild West terrain. And therefore, when we plonk a project in any particular area, we must understand both the watershed that it occupies as well as the aquifer that it occupies, and then start to make our designs around water. Well, the swimming pools of 2 feet or 4 feet will not have any water pretty soon. They'll be empty. The child luckily will not drown because there is no water.
Do developers understand that sustainability can bring return on investment and long-term profits?
I believe no. But I think it's just a matter of time where one, government policies, which is going to be helpful in making the entire industry understand how sustainability is going to change the way we approach a project. It's going to be cost effective, of course, and there are many other means in which it is being educated to the whole community today. And I think that is one of the key elements which is going to be helpful.
Now, I would like to think that developers are now quickly understanding that the credibility of the projects that they deliver means it includes sustainability, and that there is a huge consumer demand for sustainability. Give you a tangible example from my sector. Typically, developers were mandated to set up wastewater treatment plants, but they would do so as the lowest choice technology, right? So it was capital expenditure which would determine the unit there, and then the residents association or whoever took over had the headache of running this, and it would usually fail. But I think now there's quite a dialogue developing where you start to understand that the best technology is which has the lowest life cycle cost, and it means a win-win for both the developer as well as for the people who will occupy it later. I think those dialogues need to be fostered more further, and those technology choices should become more explicit as we go along, especially with wastewater treatment, which will become the norm in the coming days, just as an example. And which would make both the developer's brand image as well as that of the life of the residents much better.
Just to add to that, I'm just going to put some more pressure on a customer or a resident or a leaseholder, whatever. I think what we ask for is what we're getting, right? The problem is this: we are not asking, what does a developer publish? It's Italian marble, this toilet fixture, this light fixture, this lift core, this gym. And in my mind, if you don't put Italian marble, I can buy Italian marble for 600 and put it. It's a very easy fix for me, right? But the big infrastructure, nobody publishes that. Nobody cares for that. Because nobody cares for that. It's actually what, as a customer, if I'm aware that after I acquire the flat, I would have to spend 1 rupee a square foot or 2 rupees a square foot to maintain it, and that was a sales pitch made by the developer, and the client wanted to hear that, that, it's going to be cheaper in this flat to manage because it's got these 4 features, then it's a business model. It's not that you are concerned to be sustainable. You want to be sustainable to sell, otherwise you can't sell. So I think what we're selling is a brochure with Italian marble, powder coated window, which are very, very, it's like, like a car upgrade. They upgrade the GPS system in it, but they can't change the engine, right? Because that's very expensive. They can put back light on it, or back camera on a car, even an Alto, right? Because it's easy. It's like 10,000 rupees you put, So I think that the customer is getting excited about things which have no real tangible benefits. The customer needs to get educated and ask for tangible benefits when he acquires certain things. I think that will help this also. It's about that knowledge base. As one of my very, very good friends says when a developer says, I will put this curtain wall in the commercial building, this Italian marble, this, that, he never says how are you going to put together. The same labor is going to spend a ₦1 million curtain wall and clad the stone in it, right? So the detail is not your concern. It's just, I'm going to have this curtain wall, I'm going to have this. So I think the sensitivity of the customer becoming more and more aware of these things will help this also. I think I'm just putting more pressure on customers also. We need to be aware of what are we buying. What are we buying and what is value? Is value in a tap which is a 1 lakh rupee tap which I can replace anytime, or the overall infrastructure of the association I'm getting into? So I think that knowledge base also needs to develop a little bit.
I think one of the key factor here is the sustainability is not a glamorous term to be used in the marketing strategy. And I think over years, like India is still not picked up. Latest example is the automobile industry, which tries to or is trying to create electric and hybrid cars. We have not accepted and understood the meaning of these cars. They are going to be environmental friendly. It's going to be good for our economy. We don't have to buy petrodollar and all those things, which is going to be helpful for our nation overall. Once our end users are going to understand this, which we as a community, we should be educating them. I think that is the right time where it's going to come there and we will be able to do wonders. I think the next point now.
Architecture in itself is complicated, and so is real estate development. Can architects be good developers?
I would like to answer that.
You would like to or you would not?
I would like to. I think architects cannot be developers. One, because your focus is on creating a structure. Being a developer, you need to be a business, with a business angle, with a lot of financial backing and a lot of understanding, market know-how. All those things, they all are putting together. That's where you get a whole package of being a real estate developer. So there are cases where I have seen in the past that there are a lot of architects who have become real estate developers because they have those additional skills that is required to become a real estate developer. So that is my single point answer for that.
Sorry, sir, can I add to that?
Please.
I differ a little bit. I think it can be successful. I feel that. Okay, it's my feeling.
Stories, yeah.
Because it's a business, as you said,
Yes.
and like it or not, I'm going to be a little harsh. We are also in business of architecture. Still, the business word is first. That's where we can eat food and we can wear our shoes and clothes, whatever we wear, right? The idea is, so your business of architecture is also managed. You have accountants, you have admin, you have support, you have finance. So I think architects can be a good real estate because it's already the vision and the delivery is contained by the same group of people. I say.
That's what I said.
But
some of them are.
You have to have associations of other business departments or ideologies to be successful. No doubt about that. You and I cannot do a lot of things which a real estate company needs to do. But who says we can't initiate and actually take help and create those multiple departments, which we don't know anything about, but run those together. Yeah. And there, in Bangalore also, there are a few people who are successful doing that. I would not take names, but I think it's a good. I think it's possible. Is it? How successful it can be, it's debatable. But I think it's possible, and people are right now. Few of them are very successful doing that.
Yeah, but then if you look at those numbers, the numbers are quite small. But
Agreed. I think no doubt about that. No doubt.
What really happens is, can architects be good developers? Yes, they can. If you're a cook, you got to be a dietitian also.
I think that's the end of our.
Yeah, that brings the curtain down on this. And any questions concerning architecture, landscape, anything?
Oh, I did not know we are going to have questions.
Hello? Are you there? Anyone having questions?
Oh, okay, there's somebody there. Could someone pass the mic over?
Question for three of them only.
Huh?
Sorry, we can't hear you.
Why are our city flooding if we have such good architects in India? I mean, we should do something about our cities also, right? I mean,
Could you speak a little
take that
louder,
question?
sir?
so, why our cities are flooding, like Bombay is flooding, and every year we hear the same thing. Okay, roads are bad, we can survive with that. But flooding is something not acceptable.
But that is not with India alone. I think globally cities are flooding. That's the climatic change which is happening. And we as human beings, we are responsible for that. It's not to do anything with architects as such. We are also a part of the whole group of people who are reason for these kind of flooding happening around. But he's the right person to talk about water.
Yeah, because I work on urban flooding also. So let me try and answer this. A, we are not designing stormwater drains at all. Exactly. There is no city which. Two, we are filling up our water bodies and crusting our cities right, left, and center. There's no room for percolation of water at all. And even the lakes and tanks which are there in Bangalore or Chennai or in Bombay or Delhi are disappearing at a very fast rate. Three, cities suffer from a heat island effect, and it's a global phenomenon that the intensity and the total volume of rainfall on cities is 15 to 25% higher. Added to that is climate change, and so therefore we're getting more rain. A combination of all this means that we will have more and more urban flooding as days go on. One of the ways to combat that is to design our rainwater harvesting policies. Chennai has one, Bangalore has one, to manage rainwater at site. And I'll just give you a very quick example on that. From a typical unbuilt site in a city in Bangalore, the volume of rainwater which would come out to the drain would be about 10 to 15% before it's built. Once it is built upon, the total volume of rainfall that comes out to the storm drain is 90 to 100%. We've increased the volume by factors of 7 to 10. Now, if we design bylaws and policies to make sure that that increased volume is either held or retained on the site or infiltrated into the ground, then we can start to begin to address the problem of flooding. It is very severe already, as you know, and it's going to get even more severe unless we incorporate that into design.
Like you said, every year we have so much of water flooded. After 3 months, we have no water to drink. Bad management is the right word. Bad management. You still have to learn a lot. Yes, any more questions?
There's somebody there.
Yeah, give my trumpet.
Is the Vastu Shastra a parameter for architects?
Vastu Shastra?
Is a parameter for architecture?
Yeah, there's Vastu Shastra there. So sometimes when you have to please a client, you follow it. But I haven't seen, because I firmly believe in one thing. There's even a beggar on the road in Hyderabad believes in Vastu Shastra. If he's told that put your hand out to the north and beg, and he's been doing it for 100 years, nothing happened. Or I believe that now color Vastu has come. Color Vastu, where you paint blue, you get boy child, you get pink, you get girl child, you paint green, you get money. So one day I told my office, I walked into the office, turned, he told my GM, close the office down. We don't want this anymore. Sir, you take a matte, I take a matte, we'll go to the farm and keep painting green from morning to evening. Evening one call from Swiss Bank. Sir, you got $1 million. Very good. So how to make money without any effort, without any work. Okay, it's a firm, some belief in the thing. Basics are fine. Like, don't let the water run towards your house. So those days you had house, all mud houses, it'll be washed away. Or about flame, heat and all that. Oh, I want to tell you, share a secret. I have sent somebody at my expense to USA to go spend 1 month in Bill Gates' house. Find out all the Vastu and come back. That's it. And can you believe it? A client with a Vastu man came to my office. And always that guy is very keen on picking up now new client, new victims. So he said, actually, you shouldn't be sitting here, you know. You should be sitting there. There's another account. Yeah, I sit there also. Oh, really? What's that room? That's my WC.
Just to add to that, I think that's on the little on the harsh side. I'm just saying, yes, we do follow Vastu. I don't believe is not the question. I do follow Vastu because, again, I'm saying the same thing, especially in Hyderabad. And the customer will not buy a flat if it's not Vastu compliant. So how will a developer sell? It's nothing to do with I like it or don't like it. It's nothing to do with that.
Exactly.
It's about I build a flat, 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom. If it's not Vastu compliant, I can't sell. So why would any developer build and why would I not design? Because I have to cater to what people want to buy. It's as simple as that for where I stand.
Catering all the entrance facing some direction, all the houses. It's a tough job for architect. Anything else? Okay. Anything more, ma?
I think
Last round.
what should be the topic?
Vastu or
Vastu is probably a 2-day discussion. It cannot happen in
It's
30
not.
seconds.
There's some of the points are true. Like I said, based on the old faith, water should not flow towards the house because you had mud house, it will be washed off.
No, it's got everything. I think Vastu also was, when it was created during those years, it was with a reason because people were not educated. And how do you help them to design their own house? Like one of the smallest example in Vastu, they say, you should not have a bedroom above your kitchen. Now, people blindly follow that, but during those days, they had open flame. And because of which the room above the kitchen is going to be very hot and uncomfortable. And today in Vastu, in the principles in most of the books that I am reading, they try to say that you're going to have health problems. Of course, you used to have health problems if you're going to be under a flame. I mean, you're going to be sleeping above the flame. So it's not exactly we need to pick it up. We need to understand the meaning of each and everything which was mentioned in those original scripts. That's very important.
Anything else?
Any further questions, ladies and gentlemen, for our panelists? All right, I'm going to take that silence as a no for now. So thank you all. Could we give a huge round of applause to our esteemed panelists, ladies and gentlemen? I'd now like to invite Mr. N.A. Dayananda from Navni Builders and Developers and Mr. Amit Ranjan of Tata Steel to present a small token of appreciation to all our panelists today. Could we give a huge round of applause? Everybody, put your hands together. Thank you all panelists for sharing your valuable time with us this afternoon. And interesting. May I now request Mr. Ranjan to please share a few words on this occasion. Everyone, could you please put your hands together for Mr. Ranjan?
Hello?
A very good evening to all distinguished delegates and my colleagues from Tata Steel. First of all, thanks to the organizers having given us an opportunity to share our thoughts here. All of us who are present in this room, I think one thing is common for all of us. We all want to service our customers in a much better and effective manner. And that is in terms of improving our processes, improving our systems by adding new products, services, in terms of digital evolution, in terms of technology, in terms of any other aspects that touches a consumer life. So in all our activities, consumer has been the focal point for the discussion, for the developments. And in Tata Group, if you see Tata Group, we have been pioneers in building the nations, be it infrastructure development, be it aviation, be it road transport, in all walks of life, Tata Group is present. And with almost over 100 brands, we are present in all walks of a common individual, right from morning to night. And we represent Tata Steel, which is a first integrated steel plant and a company that has got footholds in 26 countries and with approx 80,000 employees. So in Tata Steel also, I just wanted to, in this context, we have also progressed, we have also changed with time. We have started with a product company. We have started with home building material like TMT rebars and other products. And then slowly we are migrating to home making segment, which is called the finished product, which is basically dealing with the application per se. And we have transcended from a commodity mindset to a branded solution space where we are trying to work on certain value proposition to give consumer a better service. So services and solutions are the next buzzword for Tata Steel, wherein we are trying to be as closer to customers in terms of applications. So this homemaking category, we have 4 range of products. We are present in doors, windows, furniture, and sanitation. So I'll just take a minute to just briefly dwell. See, this Tata Pravesh is our flagship brand for the homemaking segment, wherein we promote this Tata Pravesh doors. These are steel doors with wooden finish. And mind you, this is our step towards environmental sustainability, because every 2 doors that Tata Pravesh makes, it saves 1 tree. And this door has been also certified as a green building product by CI very recently. So with Tata Pravesh, we have a pan-India presence, and this is our endeavor to just get out of a very commodity curve or get out of a different category, which was marked by local or regional players. So we are trying to develop an ecosystem wherein we can give a consumer pan-India basis a unique experience in terms of these Pravesh doors. See, another thing in our stable is the Tata Artifan, which is our furniture brand. We have just developed it. It is highly customizable based on your requirement, and you can ask us to design as per your needs. So this is also taking shape, and we have launched in certain markets. South we are yet to launch, but we'll be launching it shortly. And the third in sanitation space, which I mentioned, we are there with our Easiness product, which is sanitation solution, which has taken strong foothold in last 2 years, where we have got deep inroads into the municipalities, deep inroads into the institutional, devotional institutions, CSR activities. So this is one product which is gaining momentum, and it is being demanded by all. So needless to mention that as Tata Steel, as Tata Pravesh team, we are committed to contribute to this homemaking segment. And I'm sure that we request we request your understanding and support to take this product getting widely accepted, because it's one of the environmental friendly product which is ultimately going to improve consumers' delight. So without taking much of a time, I would request, we have put up a very small stall here. So kindly have a look, and please feel free to ask questions. We'll be happy to answer all your queries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ranjan, for sharing that with us. All right, ladies and